I'm Charles Schwenk. I made a video called The Never Again Trump Song. I'm afraid that video may have encouraged some who hate Trump to hate him even more. So I want to clarify some things in this video. I don't hate Donald Trump, and neither should you. I want to cover 4 points. Number 1, anger is not the same as hatred. Number 2, hating hurts the haters. Number 3, if you oppose Trump, don't hate him. And number 4, Trump is not the real enemy. Point number 1, anger is not the same as hatred. Other people can make us angry, but nobody else makes us hate them. We do that to ourselves by mishandling anger. For example, say Trump does something that makes me angry, which he does all the time. If I think about that anger and dwell on it, think of all the other horrible things he's done and get angry at those things all over again, and start to speculate on what kind of a subhuman being he must be to be able to do all these horrible things, I am creating hatred in myself. Now, if you tend to do that, stop it. Here's what to do instead. When you feel anger arising, don't focus on Trump. Look at yourself. Look at the anger as it arises in you. Don't judge it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Observe it. The anger goes up and comes down, rises and falls very quickly. Emotions are like that. Once the anger has passed, then with a calm mind, begin to think again about the things you can do to help prevent this horrible man from becoming president again. Why should we avoid hatred? What harm does it do? There's a mountain of evidence from medical and psychological research that hatred hurts you physically, emotionally, and mentally. Physically, hatred raises blood pressure, it screws up your digestion, it can promote insomnia, headaches, fatigue, and so on. Emotionally, hatred makes you suspicious, depressed, grumpy, and so on. Don't take my word for it. Google it. When we indulge in hatred, we don't hurt the people we hate. We hurt ourselves. When we indulge in hatred, we are doing our enemy's work for them. Point 3. If you oppose Trump, like I do, it's especially important not to hate him. I said before, hatred hurts us physically, emotionally, and mentally. Mentally, hatred clouds our judgment. It makes us less able to really understand our opponents. It makes us less able to spot our opponents' weaknesses. It makes us less effective opponents. Let me give you a moment to read this quote by Professor Kobe Bryant. Trump's presidency was a disaster. If he gets another term, it will be worse than a disaster. It's up to each of us citizens to do what we can to oppose him. In order to do that, we have to keep our wits about us. And in order to do that, we have to not indulge in hatred. Point number 4. Donald Trump is a mask. Don't hate Trump. Save your hatred for the thing behind the mask. The thing behind the mask is not a person. It's a very old, very powerful thing. Captain Ahab in Moby Dick talked about the white whale as a pasteboard mask. What he really hated was the thing behind the mask. I'm going to borrow from Ahab to describe what's behind the Trump mask. It's an ancient, ageless, primeval thing. shadowy and mysterious, hard to define. But it has terrified and divided human beings as long as there have been human beings. This thing that mauls and mutilates us, not killing us outright, but letting us live on with half a brain and half a heart, that is the real adversary. At this historical moment, in this nation, we call it polarization. If you want to hate something, hate polarization.